dispense air from bottles that are similar to the standard water cooler bottles, which are around 5 gallons or 19 liters in capacity. And something about that should strike you as off. The average human breathes around 7 to 8 liters of air every minute, which is more than 10,000 liters of air per day. Meaning that if the citizens of Thneedville were solely reliant on O'Hare's jugs of air, they would run out in mere minutes. Sure, they might get themselves some psychological boost from thinking that O'Hare's air is breathing fresher, but it's just that. It's psychology, not biology. The fresh air that they're buying from O'Hare is no different from the fresh air they'd get if they simply opened up a window. Wow, it's kind of like another resource we have in real life that's available to us that many opt to pay for because it comes in tiny plastic bottles that claim to be fresher. Go figure. I'm talking about water here, guys. Thought the metaphor was obvious enough, but I feel like I need to spell it out. Bottled water. O'Hare's air is just the stand-in for bottled water. But one thing we can say is that before O'Hare, the town was a wasteland, thanks in large part to the Onceler cutting down trees. In the present day of the movie, Thneedville is an artificially created utopia where everyone is happy, where the air is cleaner than anything that exists around it. We saw how much of a wasteland it was before O'Hare, and in the present day, we see Ted cough on smog-filled air when he leaves the city's walls. As Ted gets further away from the city, the more air pollution there seems to be. If anything, Thneedville is the one place that seems to have escaped from this fate. Somehow, by hook or by crook, Aloysius O'Hare managed to create what is, by all accounts, a thriving city. Despite the lack of trees, he found a way to allow people to breathe free air, even when they're not consuming his bottled air. If you look at it that way, O'Hare almost seems like a hero. At the end of the movie, when we look out over the ruined wasteland, it's important to understand that isn't what O'Hare created, it's what he had to overcome for his company and town to be successful. And he did it. The people are happy. As we see in the opening song of the movie, his consumers are clearly thriving. Happy about him, happy about the city they live in, welcoming his entrance in the city's new parking lot in a grand chorus. In fact, if you actually look at the living conditions of people in Thneedville, it seems not bad at all. For a movie that's supposed to be all about the woes of modernity and the harm brought by capitalistic greed, we don't see anyone in Thneedville that seems to be a real victim of O'Hare's enterprises. We don't see people who are left poor and destitute. We don't see people who are forced to work jobs that they don't like in order to keep up with the rat race, or worse yet, in order to breathe. People happily prance around while they're on the job, and everyone seems to have tons of time for leisure and enough money to buy giant cars. The inciting incident of the film where Ted goes off in search of a tree isn't because someone is actually suffering from a lack of trees, it's because he wants a kiss from Audrey, the hot girl next door that he has a crush on.
What I want more than anything in the whole world is to see a real living tree.
If a guy